What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. CLFurlong here, and we're all about running, lifestyle, and everything in between. And today we are talking about progress is progress. Today I want to share with you guys something which I guess is a bit of a tip or a trick or something that I use to ensure that I am continuing to progress with my goals even if I'm not getting the result I expected. Now there's a bit behind this, let's get into it. So I need to explain some context here. So the way I usually go about progressing and taking action to do something is, well, I need to have a goal in mind, right? And let's use an example. Anything that we have a goal in mind for, it's broken down at a very large scale, at a macro level, and then also at a micro level. So if we think of training for a marathon, for instance, the macro here is, well, I need to do an 18-week plan, and within that 18-week plan, there's 18 weeks of, runs that I need to do, and then each week has those 5 runs, and those 5 runs will all have an individual, I guess, intent or expectation or something that needs to be achieved. So you've got the broader macro scale of the goal you're trying to complete, and then you've got the steps, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, that you need to work towards. Now, as you break it down, as we break it down to, for instance, to that single run, week 2, and it's run number 7, for instance, there's going to be an intent to go out and get something done. It might be to go do a 5K at a certain distance. That's what I need to achieve for today. So with that in mind, the way I usually go about with all my goals is that daily progression. So each day I would set out a list of tasks that I want to complete. For everyone's context, a usual example of this, and I can flash one up on screen, is, let's say I've got X amount of listings I want to get done today. So maybe I want to get 20 listings done today. I want to do a 5K run, and maybe I want to start the edit of podcast episode 4, for instance. So they're my main tasks that I need to do. Now, as I progress through the day, obviously I'm going to start to tackle these 20 listings. I'm going to start to, usually I actually start the morning with my run, so I'd get the run done first. I can tick off the 5K. Maybe I ended up doing 6K, so that's even a better win for me, but the intent was to do 5K. Throughout the day, I'm going to do those 20 listings. We'll see how we go, and also I'm going to schedule some time to do some editing of the video. Now, that's great, but other things pop up. Maybe I need to do some admin, need to respond to some emails, or maybe I need to do a mail run for whatever strange reason. Maybe all of a sudden I've had 10 items come through which need to go out the next day, depending on the type of listing. So things get in the way, life gets in the way, or circumstances change. Now, let's say I get to the end of the day and I'm doing my review, I'm actually going through and seeing what have I actually conquered and achieved. Maybe I've only done 15 listings. So I would list out, didn't do 20, but I've done 15 listings. Obviously I'm going to tick off that I've done 5K run, but I actually did a 6K run, so I would call that out. And then also I would be calling out, well, maybe I didn't finish my video, but I did start editing my video. But I also will then list out the other things that I have conquered or achieved. So, responded to 5 emails or mailed 17 items or whatever it may be, but listing out the things that I have achieved. You see, when we set expectation and reality settles in, when you get to the end of the day and you reflect and see that, well, I haven't done what I wanted to do, the first thing you're going to be feeling is you weren't good enough. You didn't achieve what you intended. Why aren't I doing this? What could have I done? And you go down that rut of trying to figure out what's wrong and why aren't I good enough or why aren't I achieving. But if you actually flip it on the other side and look at it on the perspective of, well, these are the things I have done. No, I haven't achieved everything, but I did do 15 listings, or I did do however many listings, which meant that though I didn't achieve 20, maybe 20 wasn't even realistic in the first place. It's something that I'm working towards. Now, at the same time, I've also done all these other things. I've mailed all these items, I've had to respond to some emails or whatever it may be. But once you get those things fleshed out and you start to really reflect and see what you've achieved, you will all of a sudden start to have a bit more gratitude and understanding to yourself of like, well, actually I've done a lot today, or I did do this or I didn't do that, but I still was able to do these 2 things, and you're still progressing, right? Progress is progress. You're never going to be perfect, because if everything was perfect, it would be boring. Everyone would be doing it, right? If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So the idea is to build a mentality, an approach to tackle these things. Now, yes, I understand that we need to be doing our dailies. We have things that we want to achieve in order to get to our bigger goal. But one day, the next day, I might not do 20 listings, I might do 35, or I might do 15 and then do 20 the next day, 20 the next day, 20 the next day, and that is fine. The idea is that you're setting something in place so you can work towards it as a routine, as a habit, building that progression. And some days you'll have big days, some days you'll have small days. Sometimes things just don't go as planned. But what I want to really encourage you to do is take that tip away, is at the end of the day, reflect and see what you have achieved. If you need to add things to the task list that you achieved to be able to tick them off, do it. Do it. Now, at the same time, you need to find the fine line around, well, what was too much of a distraction versus are you just doing these things and neglecting the others and using them as excuses to avoid doing something? But you need to take this with a bit of common sense and your own approach. But this is what works for me. For me, I'm trying to do so many things this year. I have so many ambitious goals, and I need to be tackling so many things at different times to ensure things are still moving and, I guess, hanging in together. So the way to do that is to make sure progress is progress, and I'm ticking off little steps at a time or little bites at a time, and also making sure I'm spending that time reflecting and understanding, well, what am I achieving? What isn't working? The other benefit, the bonus tip from this, is you're actually getting a lot of information as well of what is working, what isn't working, and you're able to start to reiterate, you're able to take new approaches, pivot, adjust, and come back stronger and smarter. Now, sometimes that won't really occur, or you can't see those patterns and trends until 30 days, but it's still something which you didn't have 30 days earlier, which means the next 30 days you could potentially do that little bit better. And that's what it's all about. Progress is progress. And if you can progress a little further in the longer run from compounding efforts, you're gonna fly. That's my tip for you. I hope it's been relevant. I hope it's been supportive. Also, this background, this is where I work, this is where I do all my things. And this was a nice request from Matt from the Aussie Flipper. So there you go, mate. It's all here. Thanks, guys.